That's a whole lot of Dopeish, not a little bit.
Alright, welcome to Dopeish. Today I have a very special guest, CeCe, and we have a very heartfelt episode today for you guys. It's going to be an emotional one, and we're all going to get through this together, right? Alright, so go ahead and introduce yourself for the people out in internet and TV land.
That don't know me?
Yeah.
I'm just CeCe. I mean, I go by Sid too most of the time, but I'm outgoing, friendly. I paint, I sing. I don't really do a whole lot. Like, I work and I go home, and before all this happened, I was like a mom.
Gotcha.
24/7,
So before all this happened, like, who was CeCe?
CeCe was a single mother of 2 children. Anaya was my daughter, and she was 8. And then my son was Julian, and he was 5. Unfortunately, in April of this year, they were visiting at someone else's house, and there was a house fire. And I got the worst phone call of my life at 3:30 in the morning. VCU told me that I needed to come up there. They wouldn't tell me what happened. They wouldn't tell me who was hurt, anything like that. They just told me there was a house fire at the residence where my children were, and I was like, oh my god. So then the whole ride, I was in Colonial Heights, I think, like Ettrick area. So the people that don't know, VCU is all the way in Richmond. We made it to Richmond going about, I think Rebecca was going like 145 on the interstate the whole way there, and like, thank God for Rebecca and Silk and Reba, like they were all like immediately right there with me, so that had a huge impact on like my relationship with them and how much I care about them because they were there for me.
Absolutely.
So the whole way out there, I'm like freaking out. I'm like, no, bro, like of course as a parent, like your main priority is your kid. Well, take that back, a good parent. Your main priority is to care for your kids and to keep them safe, and you can't be on top of your kids all the time. You can't be with them 24/7. So unfortunately, there's a lot that's out of your control. And we got up to VCU, and every single worst nightmare that I ever had, like it was just right there. The nurse at the pediatric ER, she said that she was gonna go get like the nurse and like the social worker or whatever, and I was like, okay. Then she talked to the security guard, and I'm like beside myself. I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, what is going on? Who's hurt? Like, what happened? I just know there's a fire. Like, I don't know if it was like something happened to their dad or something happened to the kids or like what happened. So the security guard comes over to like not really console me, but like he was like, you know, she's gonna go get the social worker and the nurse, and then he said she's gonna get the chaplain. And I was like, bro, I'm not a fucking idiot. Like I'm sorry, can I say that? Okay. I was like, you don't like, you don't get the chaplain if everybody's okay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I was like, Jesus Christ, something happened to my kids. Like somebody's dead. And I remember them taking us. Becca was with me still, and I remember them taking us into this tiny little room at VCU, and the social worker was in there at first, and then the nurse came in, and then 2 doctors and the chaplain came in, and
Sorry.
so when they came in, the first thing that she said to me was like, hey, Miss Seaborn, I'm really sorry to tell you this, but Julian's not going to make it. He's already gone. They took him to Chippenham. I was like, fuck, not okay. And then she said, Anaya's here. I said, well, let me see my daughter. Like, what do you mean? She's here. Okay, why are we still in this fucking tiny ass room? I need to be with her. She said that she was brain damaged when she came out of the house. and that she was never going to wake up again. She said that it was mandatory that we keep an eye on life support for 12 hours. But she would only be a vegetable. It was really hard. I literally felt my entire soul leave my body. It was a really rough moment for me. But I can tell you, it would have been harder if I was alone. I will literally forever be grateful to Rebecca for being there with me, for holding my hand when they told me that. It was so hard.
So what is death to you?
It's complicated. Because if you would have asked me that 2 years ago when my dad passed away, he died from lung cancer, and I would have told you that death means, that the person is done with this life and they're moving to the next plane, whether it's heaven or hell or purgatory or whatever it is you believe in, reincarnation, whatever it is, they're done here. Their job is done, their lessons are learned, they're moving on. Now, it hurts so bad because you just think about every dream you ever had for them, everything they could have been, everything they could have enjoyed, every moment that you could have been there for them. They were only 8 and 5, and don't get me wrong, I am so grateful that I had those 8 years and those 5 years, and I had all of those milestones. First teeth, first haircut, first steps. Those are beautiful memories, but they're equally painful. Because I'll never get to make another memory with them. I'll never get to take another picture. I won't get to teach my daughter how to protect herself. I don't get to help her pick out a wedding dress. I don't get to teach my son how to treat women. There's a lot of stuff you don't get anymore. And so that to me is still, they're moving on, but it's so devastating for the people they leave behind. And if I can say, the only saving grace in any of this, if there is one, or silver lining, or positivity that I can grab out of any of it, is the fact that they don't have to be here anymore.
They don't have to suffer.
They don't. I don't have to worry about them being in a house fire again. I don't have to worry about them being bullied at school, or my daughter being raped coming out of work when she's 25. There's so many disgusting and ugly pieces of this world I don't have to worry about them suffering from anymore. And so I tell myself a lot that they were too good for this place. That doesn't mean that the rest of us deserve to be here necessarily, but they're done here. They brought a lot of light to so many people.
Absolutely. How do you cope with this? I mean, it's obviously this situation isn't something that, just talking to someone once a week, this is something devastating, and regardless of what your coping mechanisms are, there's going to be some unhealthy ones. There's bound to be some healthy ones. This is with any situation anyone's in,
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has unhealthy coping mechanisms.
Yes.
But what helps you get through each day and look forward to the next day?
So, something that my stepmother tried to instill in me, she got married to my dad like 13, 14 years ago. Something that she tried to tell me was that you need to give yourself grace, or to be as kind to yourself as you are to other people. So I'm trying really hard to remember that, especially on my bad days. Like, I'm always been a people pleaser / overachiever. Like straight A's, like you bust your ass, you do what you have to do, and you shine. Like if you're gonna do it, you better fucking do it. So now it's like I feel really bad on the days where I can't stop crying because my brain won't stop thinking about them or how much I miss them, or like, because it's hard. It's so fucking hard. You go from waking up every single day and making sure that these two tiny people eat and brush their teeth and do their homework and pay attention in class. Virtual learning, that's a whole nother. That was a disaster. But then you blink your eyes and it's gone. It's literally gone. So now you have nothing but yourself. It's so like underestimated, the statement of you never really know anything, because you don't. You have kids and you're like, oh, it's so natural for the parents to die before the kids, or kids to outlive the parents, or whatever. But I'm not the only person in the world who's ever had their children pass away before them. No, but it feels like you are when you're the one that's hurting.
You don't really meet other parents in your situation.
No. And people have tried to, like, I don't know, I guess empathize or what have you with, like, I had a miscarriage. I know exactly how you feel.
But it's not the same thing.
It's not the same.
You spent the last 8 years of your life with two people depending on you day in and day out. The last 8 years. A significant portion of your life so far. Like, how old are you? If you don't mind me asking.
I just turned 33.
Well, that's a significant, that space right there. Yeah. You know, from 25 to 33. It's a significant part of your life, significant part of you growing up into adulthood. Yeah. For those last 8 years, you had two people depending on you. No one.
Moms don't get sick.
No one. Yeah, you haven't had a day off in 8 years. Right. So your whole life has been situated and acclimated to this. Yeah. And now those 8 years is up. Yeah. And who are you? No one can really understand that unless they've been through that exact situation. A miscarriage, you know.
And I don't want to take away from other
Yeah, not to take away. Yeah,
I'm sure
absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not to take away from that, but it is a different kind of pain. You cannot. You can't see those two on the same plane. You know, there's no equal. Like having someone for 3 to 4 months of your life and they're gone like that.
It sucks.
Sure it's a horrible experience. But that's not on the same level of having these two people for years and years and years, and now you're now you gotta acclimate to not having them, and how do you who is CeCe now?
Right, and like 16 hours of every 24-hour day was dedicated to, I'm either working to make money to care for them, or I'm taking them to the park, or we're having family game night, or we're watching a movie, or going to see Christmas lights. Like, it's a whole world parenting. And when you're not a parent anymore, just suddenly like that, it's like, who am I? Like, honestly, like, you really have to look yourself in the mirror and be like, what now?
I think the only, like, kind of people that can really feel and empathize with that situation is soldiers. Because if you think about someone going overseas for 8 to 10 years and they're fighting a war for 10 years or even 5 years, and they're on a
battlefield, they come back here and it's just mellow.
Who are you? Yeah. They don't have a place in this world at that moment, because for the last amount of years, 5, 6 years, 10 years, all they know is fighting and killing. And now they're back in this world where fighting and killing isn't allowed. And who are you? I feel like those are maybe somewhat of the only kind of people that can really understand your situation. Not in the sense of you losing people, but in the sense of you coming out of one
like
world.
You have to find yourself.
Right. Yeah. You know, like you have to find yourself. And how do you find yourself, you know?
So I am going to touch back on the thing where I said that you have to be kind to yourself. So there are probably going to be 20 million more of these days, but there have been so many days where I don't want to get out of the bed, and these are my unhealthy coping mechanisms. I won't get out of the fucking bed. If I don't want to take a shower, I'm not taking a fucking shower. I am the only person, you are the only person who has to spend 100% of your life with you. That's it. If you think I smell bad today, catch me tomorrow. Like, I'm sorry, but I really have to start giving myself that leeway to not be okay. Because that gives me enough relaxation or rebuilding within myself to do the things that are more proactively beneficial, like busting my ass at work and getting 2
I heard about
promotions
that.
in the last month.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And getting back into painting. I've painted a few things since they passed away, which I love painting. And singing. I've been talking to my friend Jeremy about getting back in the studio, trying to work on the stuff that we had done before and maybe some new stuff. But you have to allow yourself to not be okay, to have more energy for the shit that you want to do when you are okay.
And it's not something that happens overnight.
No.
It can't happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a couple days or a couple weeks or months.
Yeah.
It may take years, but the fact is, as long as you're working on that, you're taking the steps to become better. As long as you're taking, as small as those steps might be, if you're actually progressing, you don't have to worry about sliding back down that hill.
Yeah. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there have been times like my family, when I was growing up, my dad had issues with alcohol and drugs, my mom had issues with drugs, stuff like that, and like, I've seen drugs take out so many people in my life, and I have plenty of people in my life that do drugs now, but I don't judge them. That's on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, other people have different limits and whatever, like, to each his own. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I know that me, myself, I don't want to go down that path because I've seen it destroy so many lives throughout my lifetime that I don't want that for myself. I feel like the ultimate failure for me is to either just give up and kill myself. Like, don't get me wrong, I've thought about it. I have seriously thought about it. Like, I almost did it twice since they died, and I don't tell a lot of people that. It makes me really uncomfortable. It makes me feel like people are looking at me like I'm batshit crazy. Like, I'm not crazy. I'm a human with feelings that I don't know what to do with.
There's so many people that if they were in your situation, they wouldn't be here because they probably would have gave up.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of parents out there that's probably had this happen to them and gave up. And here you are, what, 6 months?
It'll be 7 months.
7 months after the event.
Yeah.
And you're here. You're strong. You're going to work.
Yeah.
You still make appearances out in public whenever you feel like
when
it.
I can, yeah. People is a lot sometimes.
People can.
People is a lot.
Especially when people know your situation, and as soon as you step foot outside, you know, you either get bombarded.
That benefit was really hard.
I bet.
Yeah.
You either get bombarded with questions, or people just they sympathize with you a little too much.
There are still people that are just finding out.
Really?
Not even joking. Yeah, I had somebody message me the other day on Facebook that I haven't talked to since like high school. And they were like, "Oh my god, I just heard about your kids. I'm so sorry, blah, blah." I'm like,
thanks for reminding me.
Yeah. Like, it's not like I ever forget, but like, golly, like, can you, it feels like
it's
almost,
like a prick.
Yeah, it's like they were so important to me. They were such a huge part of my life. And when all of that happened, I still am very pissed off, by the way. But I was so angry with whoever's in charge, the universe, God, Mother Nature, whoever, I don't care, Buddha, whoever's fucking fault this is, I'm mad at you. Because as a parent, I prayed every single freaking day of my life for them to protect my kids. That was the first thing I ever prayed for. That was the last thing I ever prayed for. Please protect my kids. When I'm there and when I'm not, protect them. And they're gone. So I was pissed about that. And I'm still mad about that. But when all of this first happened, and like I said, they were such a huge part of my life, when somebody comes up 7 months later and is like, oh, I just heard about your kids, it's like a just fucking gut punch, bro. Because it's like, how could you just now be finding out? My whole entire fucking world came crumbling down 7 months ago. You're late, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? And like, I feel guilty for feeling that way and thinking those things because these people are just trying to be nice. You know what I'm saying? And they're just trying to like, be like, hey, you know, if you need anything, let me know. Which is so cliche, by the way, because literally everyone says that, and nobody uses that shit.
That's the go-to thing to say whenever, if you need anything, let me know.
Yeah. Wait until you have to take off 2 months of work because you're devastated and trying to figure out how to even live life on a daily basis, and then your rental property tries to evict you, even though you've been in this house for 3 years. And I was late on the rent by 20 days. I was late, and they tried to get us evicted, and I was like, bro, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is what I need right now. Are you serious? Like, what the fuck? People just don't care. Like, it's so wild because the line is thin between how many people don't give a shit and how many people will go out of their freaking way to be there for you. Like, people that I never would have expected.
And there's that balance with humanity. I mean, you really can't expect everybody to even understand what you're going through. I know I myself was intimidated and terrified to even approach you. Meeting someone that's going through that, like, it's like I did not know what to say. I remember the night we heard about it, me and my fiance, and
I love her.
and I was just like, it really didn't hit me until like maybe like days later, and it was just like, how do you tell somebody that lost the two most important things in their lives, I'm sorry that happened, I don't know what, there's absolutely nothing I could probably do for you but have a shoulder, you know, like what do you say?
So in my personal opinion, and I can't speak for everybody, but in my personal opinion, when you go through something so real and traumatic and like devastating, like that's yours, you have to own it. The best thing that other people can do is be straight up with you, bro. Like, if you can't do nothing for me, you can't do nothing for me. That's fine. Like, it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't have that mindset. It is what it is. Like, unfortunately for me, do I wish I could control this? Fuck yeah. Mm-hmm. Let me find the guy with the time travel machine. Absolutely. But in our reality, that's not what it is right now. And I think that the most heartfelt conversations I've had with people since everything happened were the conversations with people that allowed me to be vulnerable and didn't judge me. The people who would let me cry. And like, man, I can't even tell you how many times I have been laying at their gravesite at Sunset Memorial and bawling my eyes out. Snot everywhere, not cute. And the people who are closest to me have been right there, laying in the dirt with me. Ants and everything, don't give a damn. Goose poop, who cares? Like,
and that's the support you need.
Yes, like you need people who are gonna, like, and it doesn't even, it's not that you need to do anything for them, but I feel like, one, mental health is not as big of a deal as it should be. Like, it's not taken seriously enough.
Right.
And I also feel like people, you don't have to go out of your way and buy a giant fucking thing of flowers for $100. That doesn't do anything for me. But remind me that my kids are dead a week from now when it fucking dies too. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I hate to put it like that, but like, the fact that I can go have ice cream with Kay, or we can go get our nails done, or go fucking window shopping at Spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and don't have to think about
it's the companionship of somebody supporting you.
That matters.
And it's okay if I break down at Spirit because I see a PJ Masks fucking costume. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay if we're getting our nails done and I start crying because an I loved pink. Like, people who are not gonna judge you for losing your shit. Those are the most precious diamonds in this world, swear to God. Because I be losing my shit. I be losing my shit.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw you after it happened. I think it was the 420 thing at El
The
Mundo's.
dinner thing.
That was the first time I think you came out since it happened, I think.
Yeah.
And I saw you walk into the bar
Do
in
you
the
know
basement.
how hard it is for me to not be an alcoholic?
Cheers to you. But
That's why I try not to drink anymore at all.
You was walking up and going through my mind. It was like I saw you earlier that night and I tried to avoid you because I was like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. And then like you were coming towards me.
Say that.
And,
hey, I'm really
and I think I
sorry.
said towards you.
I don't know what to say.
I think I said to you, I think I was gonna say I would ask you how your day is, but we already know.
Yeah, for sure. Not great.
And I think I gave you a hug or something. I really didn't have much to say, but I was like, we're here.
Yeah.
But it was just hard. I mean, I'm not gonna say it was hard for me. It was difficult for me to like try to even understand what you're going through. Like I can't even fathom that. I don't even know. You might be a stronger person than me because I don't know what I would have done. And I mean, like, all cheers to you. Like, you are a very, very strong person for this.
Okay.
And
if anything,
a hero, a martyr. Not a martyr. You're not dead, but you're a role model. Like there's gonna be so many people because, like I said, there's not a lot of parents who lose children and. There's going to be people who lose their children, parents, and they need somebody to talk to about it. Them seeing this interview will give them that hope that it's going to be okay. 7 months down the line, you're going to be okay. Don't think you lost your kids today and tomorrow I'm done. Yeah. 7 months down the line, she's still here, going strong, and I'm proud of you. You've done great. You're a role model to so many people.
I'm so determined to not let the tragedy change who I am as a person. When my children were here, I tried to mold them in ways like morals, values, what have you. And I tried to model those for them so that they could grow into be those individuals. You know what I'm saying? So they could be proud of themselves and the way they treat other people.
Right.
So that they could understand their emotions, so they could control their emotions, so they could control their actions to other people's actions. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying really, really hard, especially at my job, to still mold that. Even though they're not here, I feel like wherever they are, they can see what the hell I'm doing. And they know when they're not supposed to be watching. You know what I'm saying? But, most of the time, I feel like they can see what I'm doing. I feel like my dad can see what I'm doing, and I don't want to let them down. I don't want to just flip the script and now I'm just this hateful person, bitter ass person, like hateful to everybody, rude, disrespectful. Like I'm not, absolutely not. That's not who I am.
Right.
And I don't want them to see me like that. And I don't want to see myself like that. I don't want to look back on myself year, 2 years from now, and I'm some fucking drunk, you know what I'm saying? Like, totally let my life go to shit because this happened to me. That's a victim mentality, and I don't have that. So I'm trying to be as proactive as I possibly can to make sure that I don't become that. I think it's a personal choice.
Absolutely. It's a good choice.
Do I think that everybody has it in them?
Probably not.
Probably not.
It's hard to make that choice and be that person.
It is very
because you can easily let that anger and all that consume you and just
be done. Yeah.
All right, one more question.
Sure.
Do you ever think about having kids again?
Ooh.
Whether it's your own kids or you adopt.
So I have talked about this with my very, very, very close friends. I'm on Marina for a reason. Hello. No, thank you. Do I want to? No. Am I actively trying to? Absolutely not. The opposite of that. However, I have thought about it several times, and I feel like if I somehow get pregnant, trying so hard not to get pregnant, then it's kind of like, okay, well maybe that was supposed to happen, but I don't know. My brain goes lots of different directions with that because if I'm thinking, okay, then it's supposed to happen, then the logic should be across the board, correct? So then that means that my kid's dying in a house fire was supposed to happen?
Right.
Fuck no, I can't accept that. So I go backwards and I'm like, nope, throw myself downstairs, not happening, no way. Don't support that. Sorry, but I don't know, man. If I ever did. So with Anaya, I almost died. That was an emergency C-section. That was rough. That was really rough. With Julian, super rough pregnancy. Again, rough delivery again. So for me, it would be not only a medical thing, it would be a mental thing as well, because all the times I've thought about it, it's like, okay, fine, say everything goes well. Great pregnancy, great delivery, all that, right? And then I have this baby. And it's either you smother the shit out of it, never let it out of your sight, homeschooled forever, like, that's it. I don't care, we're nomads, we're homeless, I don't give a fuck. You're not leaving my side. Or you can do whatever you want, I don't give a shit. Because I'm not about to betray Anaya and Julian by giving you the love that I can't get to them. So it's super deep for me. And I don't know if that will change with time, because it's been the same this whole 7 months. Like, it's one or the other. It's one extreme or the other. And that's not fair. That's not fair to the kid. That's not fair to me. That's not fair to the kid's dad. Like, I think it's an all around bad idea.
What if you were to like adopt or foster or even like mentor children who lost their parents in the fire?
So I haven't ever thought about mentoring like children that have lost their parents. I've never thought about that. I think I probably would be open-minded to that, mentoring them for sure. I can be an awesome big sister to somebody, you know what I'm saying? But adopting or surrogating or any of that kind of stuff.
The idea of being a mother again is too painful.
Absolutely. The idea of being somebody's mom.
You should definitely think about like being a big sister to like or someone helping a child who lost their, because you know that might help you.
Right, and
it's
like
not
you said,
you,
it's so easy to go down the wrong path.
Right, and it's not you being a mother again, you know? It's you just being a friend to someone else who's literally going through the same. Well, not in the same sense, but in the opposite way. You know, a child losing their parents and they're thinking it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
You know, like what if the roles were reversed and it was you that passed away in a fire?
And see, and that kind of makes me. I'm not gonna say grateful, because grateful is not the appropriate word to use here.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody with a lot more knowledge, maybe as a source, you can give me a word. But whatever word it is for the feeling I get, because I would much rather it be me here hurting because they're not, than them here hurting because I'm not.
I'd say grateful would be a suffice word to use. I mean, as bad as it may sound, being grateful.
I'm not grateful they died.
Right, but being grateful for the reason that they don't have to suffer.
I feel it and they don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Their suffering is over. There would be suffering in either situation, whether you were gone.
And I'd rather it be me suffering than them, for sure. Every day of the week. Absolutely.
And that I feel like that's a very selfless decision, not a selfish one. Because you are thinking of them in the long run. Because if you were gone, their life from 7 months ago till the point of whenever they departed this world would be a devastating one, a hard one. Yeah. And I feel like it might be harder for...
It makes me hurt for Laura and Andrew.
You're good.
So what I wanted to say earlier was that you don't necessarily have to know what to say. You don't even have to say the right thing. And you don't need to understand their pain or like try to understand their pain. Just be there. Literally just be there. That's it. Like sometimes they need you to listen. Sometimes they want your advice. Sometimes they want to know it's okay for me to not be okay right now. It's okay for me to freak out and you're not gonna like laugh at me. We can still keep watching Rick and Morty. You know what I'm saying? Like some people just need you to be there.
That support.
Yeah.
You don't need to
I
physically
wouldn't be where I am
give
without that
anything or
support,
do
for
anything.
sure.
Just be there. That's support.
Yeah. And like my job, I'm really grateful because there will be kids that come in there, and I mean, obviously none of them look exactly like my kids, but when there's a mom and dad having dinner with their two little kids, and dad's pissed off because the kids are being kids, and I say, is there anything else I can do for you? And dad says, you can give me two kids that listen. It takes everything I have not to cuss that man out. Be like, sir, you're being ungrateful right now. There was another time at work, somebody got mad because they didn't have drawn butter, which is like melted butter for lobster or whatever. And he tried to get me fired, and I was like, bro, what are you doing? Like, why would you do that? Like, you literally never know what somebody else is going through, bro, ever. And Buddy was like, oh, you're terrible at your job. I asked for drawn butter 10 minutes ago. I still don't have it. When my job is set up, that's not how that works. Anywho, I was like, I can go get it right now. Like, you don't have to be so mean about it.
Right.
My manager's standing at the table, and he's like, he was like, he said, I don't give a shit. You're terrible at your job. You don't need to work here. And I was like, please stop. This job is all I have. He looked at me. He said, bullshit. I said, I'm not kidding. This job literally is all I have right now. Please stop. I will go get the butter right now. And he said, I don't believe you. Why is this job all you have? I said, if you have to know, sir, I just lost both of my children in a house fire 5 months ago. And he says, well, they weren't my kids. You should have just brought the butter. I swear to God, I have never wanted to flip a table so bad in my life. People have been downright disrespectful. But I'm still trying as hard as I possibly can to not let that change who I am. I cannot allow the actions of others to change who I am. I'm trying. That's all I can say about I'm trying.
You're doing great. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And
thanks for watching, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
Hopefully I helped somebody.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you have. When people see this, yes. Thank you so much.
And I didn't cry as much as I thought I would, so that's good.
I thought you would have cried more too.
Me
so
too.
You
yeah, I thought I was going to be bawling, but I've been thinking about these questions since you sent them to me, so I was just like, oh God.
And you answered most of them without me even asking, so.
Well, the therapy one, I do see a therapist.
So you do see a therapist. How often?
Once a week.
And does that help?
It does, because I feel like she has the professional validation that I need to know that most of my feelings are just me grieving and not me being batshit crazy. So that helps.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's as long as you have something and you're not just like
kind of keeps me grounded a little bit.
Wandering wild. Music helps a lot.
Music, yes, for sure. Medicine by Daughter. That was Anaya's favorite song. Julian loved Hot Shower by Chance the Rapper.
I love that song.
And he loved fucking Old Town Road. I love that song. Anaya loved Issues by Julia Michaels. I made a cover of the song Fight Song by Rachel Platten, and that song hits way different now. And the song My Immortal by Evanescence, that song hits way different now too. So music definitely has kept me grounded for sure. And it's just like I can lose my shit to music. I can be with them, you know what I'm saying? Like when I'm listening to the music that they loved. Musics, that's not the word. Songs. I'm listening to songs that they loved. It helps. It definitely helps for sure.
That's awesome. I'm glad to see you doing well, doing good, you know? Being a normal human being, just dealing with
this is my new normal.
Yes. Dealing with your tragedy in your own way, but in a good way and not in a destructive way, you know.
I'm trying. And I'm trying to be there for other people too. Like Kristen,
and that may ease the transition into normalcy a little bit better, easier, you know.
Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but if it does, then yeah. Hopefully I can be a very big support system for her as well.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
No problem.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you. Welcome to Dopeish. Today we have a very special guest for the Humanitarian Foundation.
Yes.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name's David Butcherelli. I'm what the foundation calls a Doctor of Smiles for the Grottos of North America's Humanitarian Foundation. We're a 501c3 or 3C, I'm sorry, nonprofit. So if people donate, that is tax, they can write it off, right? And what we do is we help kids with special needs dental work. Whatever the insurance does not pick up, we'll cover it in full. If they don't have insurance, we act as a primary. The only caveat to that is Medicaid or Medicare. We don't cover that because the doctors, they sign an agreement with the government saying they'll do it for a certain price, right? Mm-hmm. So they're double dipping at that point.
Gotcha.
Smiling is something that people can communicate with through all languages, right? So a lot of these kids that have special needs that may not be able to communicate in any way, they can smile and talk to you, right? Through that. So this is something that we help. When a kid goes to get their dental work, it can cost $750 just for a regular checkup because of the special needs they have, right? Grotto will pay for that. They pay for all preventative and routine maintenance, so to speak. 1 in 12 children in a community may qualify.
Okay.
A lot of it is nobody knows, right? So we've got to spread awareness.
More people need to know about this.
Yeah, and it's just helping kids because, like I was saying, some of these kids have no way to communicate, but they can smile. So.
And that's a big thing, like, as, they're happy, they smile, and they have a beautiful smile. And, like, not only will that, that'll, at the end of the day, that'll make them feel better,
Absolutely. And, with all the financial burden some of these parents have, dental work kind of gets pushed to the back.
Right, yeah, dental work is not really seen as a necessary thing in, like, low-income housing, like, they'll put, like, if a kid needs their tonsils taken out, or maybe if they have cavities, maybe, but as far as, like, I know growing up, I needed braces, and my dad, he wasn't for it because it was so expensive,
Right.
But, there's some kids that really do need it, and it gets pushed to the back. Being in a low-income house, there's a lot of other things that are more important rather than, your dental work,
Yeah, absolutely, because kid might need a wheelchair. They're going to pay for the wheelchair before they're going to worry about the dental care.
Absolutely.
And last year at convention I went to for the Grottos, there was a guy talking that he ended up becoming a master mason and joining the Grottos so he could help out with the Humanitarian Foundation because they helped his kid and it touched him and it moved him, right? His story he told, he said he went to the dentist and it was some ungodly amount, like $45,000 or something, to take care of his kid's dental work because the kid was nonverbal and was like deaf and couldn't speak right. So it was a higher cost because of everything else going on, right?
Right.
Different kids need different things, like cerebral palsy. They may need a different type to get it through, right?
Right.
And the dentist at the time was one of the ones that were already working with us, so the dentist linked him up with the foundation, and he was just so grateful. And hearing him talk, and that moved me too. It gave me more motivation than I already had to try to get this out here so people know about it.
Right.
'Cause I couldn't imagine being in that situation.
Right. This is a very interesting thing that needs a lot more awareness also. I know for sure a lot of people probably don't know about this, and mainly the people with kids with special needs, and this is something that I see is going to be real prominent for them, honestly. Where are you guys based, and do you have a blanket over everywhere in the U.S. or is it just certain states?
Right, I'm glad you asked that question. So there's, like I said, I'm Doctor of Smiles for this area, right? Every grotto should have a Doctor of Smiles. And how it typically works is if you're in an area, you get linked up with them, and the Dr. Smiles, think of them more as like a liaison between the foundation and the parents, making sure paperwork's done right, making sure they can get approved. And if somebody reaches out to you or me through this podcast, I can get them in contact with somebody in their area. If their state does not have a grotto, then they pretty much can just talk to the Humanitarian Foundation, or I can help them at that point.
Okay.
But I'm the Richmond area and down. There's a grotto in Fredericksburg. I can link anybody up with them. There's a great group of guys up there.
Okay.
But yeah, most states have grottos. There's even a grotto in Puerto Rico, I do believe.
Really?
Yeah, it's
awesome.
newly done. So
So you guys are just based in the U.S. Are you guys trying to branch out towards other countries? What's the future of this foundation?
Well, grottos have just become international, so I'm imagining the foundation will at some point too. I don't want to speak out of turn. I hope I'm not saying wrong information.
Yeah.
That's what I see happening, because it's just about helping kids, right?
Right.
That's what the foundation wants to do.
And there's kids everywhere, all across the world.
Right.
And what better way than, I mean, if you already have, your fingers all across the states, if you have that opportunity, branch out and help more kids, make the foundation bigger. Because once it is bigger, you can do more for these kids potentially.
Yeah. We I don't want to say the wrong number. So over the past 5 years, we paid $4.1 million of dental work for kids.
Wow.
The foundation's been around for 72 years.
Wow.
When it first started out, it was just about helping to develop research for cerebral palsy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like right here in this brochure, it says a few, right? Like cerebral palsy, muscular dystrophy, things of that nature, Down syndrome. Organ transplant surgery is covered. We cover the dental for that. We don't cover the organ transplant.
Right.
We cover the dental work, right?
Okay.
And dental work includes anesthesia, because some of them kids need it.
Mm-hmm.
But just because the disability is not on here doesn't mean we do not cover it. Right?
Gotcha.
There's so many disabilities out there now.
You can't really list them all.
Not on
Yeah.
this
You can't really list all the disabilities.
Yeah.
But if someone is interested, reaching out would be the first thing they should do to find out if you guys do cover that.
Absolutely. You get in contact with the Dr. Smiles in that area. They can guide you through that. They can reach out to the Humanitarian Foundation, or the Humanitarian Foundation is number one here too. If a parent wanted to, they're more than welcome to call them. But the easiest way to get a ball rolling really is just to talk to the person in their area, right?
This is real interesting stuff, honestly. Served 6,023 children.
That's just in the past 5 years alone. And I think this is like a year or two old.
Partners with over 300 dentists in 32 states in Canada. Yeah, this is very interesting. I mean, me myself, I've never heard of something like this, and a lot of people probably do need to hear of something like this. Especially, being in a low income house and having special needs kids. Dental work's gonna be the last thing you think of.
Yeah, and there's no income requirements. If you make money, if you make a certain amount, that doesn't mean you're disqualified.
So anybody.
Yeah, I just want to, make that out there too. Because when you do have a kid with special needs, you have a lot of other obligations to build.
Absolutely. You could be a millionaire with a kid with special needs and still have it hard.
Right. Like cleft lip palate surgery, we help with that. But we do that in conjunction with the Shriners Hospital.
Okay. All right. Well, this is really awesome. All right. So, if you guys want to reach them, the website is www.hfgrotto.org, and phone number 614-933-0711. I'll make sure I have that at the bottom of the screen here.
Yeah, that's the Humanitarian Foundation's phone number.
Okay.
If you want to email me, the email is dbucciarelli@aol.com.
AOL.
Yeah.
I haven't heard those 3 letters in a long time.
Yeah. Well, when I made cards, all the other I just wanted a short at. So
Yeah, AOL
Made
is the
that,
shortest.
yeah.
So you can, so people can become donors and sponsor visits also.
Yeah. Yeah. The hfgrotto.org has a donation site, and like I was saying earlier, all the donations made, you can write them off on your taxes because of the our status with the nonprofit.
This is really awesome, man. This is pretty amazing. And I'm sure, like, I'm so glad you reached out to me about this too, because like now I feel like I want to reach out and try to like find out other like foundations like this for children, because with the last 2 interviews I've done based on children, like I feel like there's either help out there that people don't know about, or there's no help at all that
Right.
needs to be established.
Right.
And both of those is an issue. If people don't know that there's help out there, or if there's no help,
Right.
both are an issue, and both needs to be addressed. And this right here is helping us address a major issue.
Yeah.
And like you said, like